Hi YouTube, thank you so much for coming to my channel. This is your girl Kimberly, and as you can see we have a different kind of view today. I wanted to get my bun in the screen so you guys are getting a full purview of my messy makeup table. But in today's video we are going to be talking about bronzing for deep and dark skin tones. So if you watched my last couple videos, you probably saw I got the Fenty bronzer, and that kind of got me thinking more of let me share how I actually use bronzer and talk about how bronzing specifically works for people with deep and dark skin tones. So if you want to know more, okay, so quickly just overview for this video. In addition to me demoing how I put on bronzer, I'm also just going to talk about some bronzing, I guess, theory you would say, and talk about what bronzing is, what's the purpose of it, and then jump into how you could do it. So first thing, what bronzing is. The idea of bronzing is that we have this optimal skin color that we all love in the summertime, and how can we achieve that in seasons where we don't receive the same amount of sun, so our skin can't naturally be that color. So instead of, I mean, some people do self-tanning, all kinds of things, so that way you can like try to achieve that. But for people who are less dedicated and not really about that life, there's bronzer. So there's two different ways you can apply bronzer. So I'm not going to show you both ways. I'm going to just explain both ways and then only show you how I do it, basically. So since the idea is bronzer is not highlighting, but bronzer is accentuating those places where the sun would naturally hit your face. There's people who put bronzer. One way to do it is to put it at the tip of your forehead, the tops of your cheekbones, and then under the bottom of your chin. Now, a second strategy for applying bronzer is that you put it at the temples right here, and then you put it under the cheekbone, and then you put it under the chin. Now, the second way I described is the most popular, and people use the cheek portion of bronzer application to contour their face. So yes, you can contour with bronzer, but the purpose of bronzer is not solely for contouring, if that makes sense. So there are some people that they decide to put the bronzer on the top of their cheek because they want to look sun-kissed. Now, for those of us who have deep and dark skin tones, when we start to tan, our tan isn't necessarily delineated where it's showing tan on our cheek and tan on the top of our forehead. So a really good example of this is when you go to a beach, you'll see people who have fair and light skin, they'll be burning and tanning in like certain specific areas, whereas the people who are deep and dark skin tones, it's more of a universal kind of tan, but in the shadows of their face become more pronounced as their skin tone becomes darker, if that makes sense. So your face, I feel like for brown people, we have more of a universal tannerization. Like, it's not like, oh, you see burns on certain spots and certain spots are tan. I feel like it's more of my full color is changing, and because my full color is becoming deeper, it shows off more the places where I have like the hollow of my cheeks and the bottom of my chin. The places where my face are already defined become more pronounced because in general my skin tone is becoming darker. So a really like clear way to see this is when you look at a lot of models who are very, very deep dark skin tones, their faces just look so chiseled, and it's mostly because of bone structure, but also that shadowing that they naturally have because of their strong bone structure. That's kind of the look that you want to achieve with bronzing when you have deeper dark skin tones, or at least in my opinion. Like I said, at the end of the day, makeup doesn't have any rules really. You could do what you want. It's your money. Buy the stuff, put it on your face how you like. I'm just giving you guys kind of my take on it. So for bronzer, I don't really see the point of putting a darker color on the top of your cheekbones for deep dark skin tones. To me, I think the contouring kind of strategy is more applicable to people with deep and dark skin tones. Also, I personally, me specifically, have a low hairline. So this whole thing of putting bronzer on the front, like I would basically be putting bronzer on top of my eyebrows. Like, and it's actually good that I don't have my like wig on today so you guys can see like my full hairline. But because my edges come down here, like I'm supposed to put bronzer right there? Like, that doesn't make sense for me. So more of the putting the bronzer at the temple, I could do that, but I don't even do that. So actually, instead of me explaining, let me just show you guys real quick how I actually apply my bronzer. So the bronzer I'm using is Terracotta bronzing powder by Guerlain in the shade 8 Ebony. Now, I bought this. This is very old. I bought this 2 years ago. We're going to go with 2 years because if it's anything older than that, I should be embarrassed. 2 years ago at Sephora. Unfortunately, now Sephora carries less Guerlain products, and the shades that are best for deep and dark skin tones are no longer available in Sephora stores. I know, so sad, right? Sephora don't be looking out for us all the time. But you know how that goes. Love you, Sephora. But yeah, so they cut the whole end of the shade range that's deeper. So you are going to have to go to Guerlain.com in order to purchase this product. The price is, yes, it's very expensive. It's $54. Like I said, I've had this for 2 years. If you do the math calculations of a bronzer that is cheaper, you will probably figure out that this bronzer is that other bronzers are more affordable. However, because I do have the skin tone of a deep, darker person, it is harder to find bronzers. That's the first thing. The second thing is Fenty Beauty just came out with a more affordable darker tone bronzer, but because it has a red tone, it doesn't work for my skin tone. So there might be other bronzers that are suitable for deep dark skin tones that have a cool undertone, but I just haven't found them yet. And to be honest, because this lasts for 2 years, I haven't been buying any other bronzers. So I know that like Bobbi Brown has some dark bronzers, NARS has some dark bronzers, but I just really haven't tried them because even though I hit pan on this, I'm like, there's still a lot of bronzer left in here. So I have not tried other bronzers. So I'm very open to your recommendations. If you have, specifically if you are Fenty Beauty 400 or some kind of close, cool comparison to that, let me know what bronzer you use. So this, oh, and I should also talk about this brush. This is the small contour brush from Sigma Beauty, the F05. So, bronzer on the brush, as you can see. First place I'm going to take it is here, you know. You want that perfect chinnerization. I'm just going to give y'all all the fake words today. Okay, so that's that side. Other side, I usually hold my earrings back when I do this because they are doing a lot. Okay. Next is under the cheek. And if you can see already, I have a natural contour right there. So I just put it on there. Boom. So as you can see right now, I put the product on. Like I said, I don't really contour my forehead because of my hairline, because it's like so low. But now that I have the actual product kind of placed, my next thing is now to blend. So and then I'm gonna come on the other side. And then I'm gonna blend that too. So I'm going to go get like tissue paper towel because that's usually what I do to kind of take it down a little bit because I am always heavy-handed with the bronzer. But then I will show you guys how I fix it with the tissue. So I have already applied bronzer with brush, but as I was telling you, you guys could kind of see, I did bring it up here a little bit. I'm like, I put a little too much. So what I usually do is when I put too much bronzer, I take a tissue and I fold it over my finger like that. And then I kind of just go along there and take some off. So as you can see, there's now on the tissue. Go on the other side. This side is not too bad, but I will follow suit and do the same thing. So I'm also going to fold the tissue back over and sideways and do my T-zone area because now I am shining in the light, okay? Shining, girl. Whew. Alright, so that is how I do bronzer. I feel like bronzer is one of those things that you need to try it on your face, get into the product, try different techniques, so you can figure out what works with your bone structure. Everybody can't bronze, tan, contour the same way. But one thing I will say is never, ever, never put bronzer all over your face, because at that point it's not highlighting, accentuating, it is just changing the color of your skin tone, and now you're gonna have that situation where it's like your face doesn't match your chest. Because even if you look right now, this is my like chest area right here, and this parts still match my chest, but just where I want to have specifically the bronzer, that is darker. So if you were to cover your whole face in bronzer, the whole thing would look like this, your neck and chest would look like that, and it just would not match. So never ever cover your whole face in bronzer. But like I said, definitely get your own bronzer, play around with it, try different tips and tricks, and see how you like it and what gives you the look that you are ultimately looking for. So I really, really hope that this video was helpful. If you have any other questions about bronzing for deep and dark skin tones, please leave it in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation going so that way we can really start to help each other, because I feel like there are not enough videos about using bronzer on deep and dark skin tones. So let's definitely get this conversation started. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.